And I think, it started the day they all held, right? When we announced that Lisa was retiring and then I got named, everybody stayed, and I'll forever be grateful for that. But their energy that they've brought, I think that is what's been really fun. The very first practice, I told them, I said, I don't think that there's ever been a gym any louder on day one. And that's 6 new people, right? And so they're leaning into the moment with me, and it's just been really, really fun. I love their bounce. I love their energy.
Jensen, you talk about trying to live up to the challenge, not live up, but trying to meet the challenges for the monster that you helped create.
Yeah. Well, I think, even if everything were to stay the same, let's say Lisa was here, everybody was here, this is going to be new era, new territory, right? I mean, you can't have a generational player like Caitlin and then have the crew of Kate Martin. I mean, she's playing the best team in the league now in the world, right? Gabby Marshall, and then Molly Davis's presence, Sharon Goodman. You can't come into the next year and think it's business as usual. So that, I think, I don't look at it like, this is so difficult. It would have been different,
sure.
And I believe that the fan base is understanding that. I think that we appreciate Caitlin. I think we appreciate everything that she was. She shot it from the parking lot. Amazing. The orbit of which we were all part of. But those generational players, I mean, they are so rare. I mean, and now you have to move on, right? And just like Michael Jordan when he was at North Carolina, I mean, North Carolina still had a team the next year. They're still there, right? They did it a different way. I kind of keep talking about the old-fashioned way. We just have kids that shoot around the normal three-point line now. We don't go from, Kinnick. So I just feel like it's different and leaning into it, and I'm not trying to live up to anything. I was, part of Lisa. Lisa will forever be my personal GOAT as a player, and I think she's one of the best that ever do it. And not just, the success of getting to back-to-back Final Fours, whether we won that or not, how she did it. And so being a part of that, there's just a lot of confidence and comfort. She's for me every step of the way, right? So I know it's going to be difficult and it's going to be hard, but to me it's just more different, and the fun challenge, and adding our friends from the West Coast in, they're no slouches, right? Trying to figure that out, how you can counter the size and all their athleticism or whatever. So it's just different, but it's fun, and every year you do this, you have to go into it understanding that it's different. This year it's just a whole lot different because we lost a generational player.
The three-point shot's been such a big trademark of your team. Other than McCabe, where's that going to come from next year?
Tegan Malini is quite effective. She's a freshman from Madison. She just does a lot. She's just a nice big guard. She's got pretty good range too. She's a freshman, right? Taylor McCabe is capable, but what's fun about Taylor, she's really crafty when you start to watch her. She's got a three ball, but she has a really slick penetration and she can pass. And so half the time she spends, she can be pretty hot from the three, but her passes are pretty great. But I think the three ball will come from Tegan. Kylie, I think you'll see that a little bit more. Kylie needs a few more shots within a game. When you have Caitlin, you're coming in and you're kind of setting everybody else up and ready, like for her to launch. So I think you're going to see Kylie be a lot more consistent. Sid is not going to be a quick gunner, but she's consistent. And so if ever we get everybody else penetration, and Sid's going to be solid enough that just like she did last year, she had a pretty good percentage. But I'd say those three, two for sure, Tegan and Kylie.
What's the biggest difference between a Coach Jensen run practice and a Coach Bluder run practice? I mean, you've been with Coach Bluder over 30 years, but now that you're actually in it, do you notice any differences?
Well, I build in my talking, it's like I just know sometimes I kind of see if we need to spin on a drill a little bit longer. With Lisa, we move on and we'd fix it tomorrow. So I'm a little bit more, if it's not quite where I'd like it, I build in, I want to stick with it a little bit longer. I'll visit about it, try to get their insight. Nothing's more or less right or wrong. I think it's, so far, the summers are always pretty light and carefree in the sense. There's no starting lineups. Everybody's getting reps. everybody's undefeated. So I think that is the same. But I just think that maybe they're a little bit, I build in more time to kind of chat and talk about it. And I think with 6 new people, it feels different. You got to go a little slower. I also think you have to keep basketball light and fun because it is a game, especially when these new ones are coming in because they're coming from high school and all of a sudden now the pace is so fast. So it's probably a little bit slower, a little bit more. I read the pace more instead of just push it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. What's the biggest change you've noticed in yourself over the last handful of months since you were named the head coach? Have you had to maybe toughen up a little bit with these guys, be a little bit more the bad cop or anything? Or is there any big
now they're just such a great group, 6 new ones. So they've been really great. I think I don't sleep quite as well or as much. I think, really seriously, I think it's more double checking. When you're with Lisa and Jenny for so long, there was a shared sense of responsibility, but I was very clear. At the end of the day, Lisa was wearing all of it. And I just think when you slide over I just feel really responsible, right? You want to be good for your team, you want to be good for the fans, I want to be good for my staff, the 2 new ones, and I feel like that kind of, you just feel a little bit more of that responsibility. I feel like I'm a double checker queen right now. Even things I would never have double checked before, I feel like that there's a little bit more of you just want to do it so right. But I feel like that's eased a little bit, now about 6 weeks into it. But I would just say just a little bit more of the buck stops here, but not in a negative way, just more of an understanding. And meetings, my goodness. I feel like there's been the block of time, there's just meetings that pop up where someone needs to talk about something. And so I've learned that the work days seemingly right now are long, but good. I love every second. All of them can, but our new freshman, Ava Hayden, she's really pretty athletic and get there and go. So I think we want to continue leaning into that. We've just started to go against our managers, and you can't watch scrimmages, so I can't really know what they're doing against each other. Next week, we're going to start kind of going live against each other, plus do some cycles, we call it. And I think then I'll start to kind of know. But I think we're going to kind of want to really look at a lot of ball screening action like we have, but I love what Lucy can do with ball screens. Caitlin could too, but what Lucy's going to do with the ball screens is a little bit different. So I'm hoping we can utilize that action, or continue. It's just going to look a little different. But I haven't really seen our post bang yet and know, the emphasis of what we'll want to hit there. But I do like how I've seen them in our full court drills. I think they're running pretty well.
Speaking of Lucy, how nice is it to get the 3rd leading scorer in the country in the portal? And it sounds like she's been a seamless fit with what you guys are doing.
Mm-hmm. It was great because we like to score, obviously, here. And she comes in with that mentality. But she balances with the selflessness. Sometimes I've been like, you need to take that, kind of urging her to, finish her own shot. But she just comes in with a speed about her, and we like to go. And I just think that, again, so blessed. I couldn't have had a better start in my little shift with this group. Because, the freshmen, they came in as a 9th ranked class. Now, I don't get very hype on that. I'm like, if you end in the top 10, okay, now we're talking. But it's good for the fan base or whatever. But what that means is that they've all played at a very high level in the summers. And so they're coming in with an expectation and a little better understanding because they played in some of the top circuits. And I'm feeling that energy. And they came here because we were good. And so they want to be good. And so there's a push with them that I see that I like. And, Lucy's coming because she wants that too. And she has more of experience and she can lead them. She's been there. She's played a few of those big teams, win or lose. She's been there, and she's still averaged the point she did.
I'm curious to hear about the evolution of Jada Gyamfi, somebody who's been kind of the locker room kid, the emotional support the last couple of years, but probably wants to get a little bit more playing time now.
She does.
How's her game evolving? Her
I feel like she's got a great shot. I thought she's done a good job this summer. I feel the big thing with Jada is her mind, right? Is allowing herself to really be vulnerable, to take those shots, to attack it, and she's just that glue kid. sometimes she can be kind of self-deprecating, like, oh, but it's just getting her to turn that mindset. But I've seen that better this summer. But I think, she's such a big guard. She's got nice 3 range. And I think, if we can just get her, believing it, I think she can challenge for some pretty, meaningful minutes. But the thing that she continues to do, which she's even taken a jump, is just her leadership. Very welcoming. She's fun. She talks a lot. In other ways, Sid is getting everybody on the same page, basketball-wise and motivation, where Jada can support all that, but also has a read if someone's a little tense, and she can lighten the mood. So she's already utilizing her skills, but at another level with the reading of the room, per se. But if she can couple that with what I've seen glimpses of, I think today when you're watching, she had a nice back screen turn and a 3-ball, and had a couple nice passes. So she's been showing us that more consistently. So that'd be lovely if she would do that.
Last one here. Jen, I thought the one thing just taken away on the bench was just smiles. An hour long of smiles. I mean, can you just describe the energy, maybe the fun you guys are having right now?
I do think they really like each other. They've really had a pretty concentrated effort. I know I had them all over 1 or 2 right after they got here, but I think they've done a good job of cooking at people's houses. But they're a good bunch, and they like each other, and they're for each other. Sometimes you sense that they like each other, but they're really competing. I don't want people to come in on my turf. Everybody wants to be good. I think they welcome Lucy like, hey, we're so glad you're here, right? And that's carried over, and they're really some great kids from great families, these new ones, and I think they've been raised really well, and it's just showing up in how they're acting.